Hi everybody, I'm Judy DiLorenzo from A Life Well Planted, and today's video is part 2 of a two-part discussion on whether or not it's truly necessary to blanch asparagus before freezing. We have a lot of asparagus coming out of the garden and I want to freeze it, and I want to make sure I'm using the right method. So I decided to run my own experiment. I'll share with you the results of this little test, and also I'll show you my step-by-step demonstration of how I prepared 3.5 pounds for the freezer yesterday. My experiment involved freezing a package of blanched asparagus and also freezing a package of raw asparagus. And after a few weeks, I defrosted both packages, and my husband and I did a taste and texture test. The blanched asparagus came out amazing. I cut it up into small pieces and added it to a stir fry, and it was so good. I was so surprised. I honestly expected it to turn out mushy, but the texture and the flavor were very similar to when you cook asparagus fresh. Oh my goodness, the raw asparagus was a different story. I steamed it and it was so unpleasant that we couldn't even eat it. It was stringy and chewy and had lost all of its flavor. Now, I've eaten plenty of steamed asparagus in my lifetime to know what it should taste like, and this was not it. Bummer. I really had hoped that I could freeze a bunch of it raw to make the process easier, but at least I know now for sure that taking the extra step to blanch it really is worth it. Yesterday, I prepared 3.5 pounds for the freezer, and needless to say, I blanched it all first. My step-by-step demonstration is coming next. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you're notified whenever I post a new video. If you have your own asparagus patch, try to freeze the asparagus the same day that you pick it. And the same applies if you buy it at the store. Try to freeze it the same day that you buy it. Cut off any of the ends if they're tough so you're only freezing the nice tender stalks. Bring an appropriately sized pot of water to a rolling boil. And if you have a basket that fits your pot, I suggest using it. It makes it all around easier getting the asparagus in and out of the boiling water. Once the asparagus is submerged and the water is boiling again, start the clock. The rule of thumb is to blanch between 2 and 4 minutes depending on the size of the stalks. Have your ice bath ready. So as soon as you are done blanching, you can stop the cooking process by plunging them into the ice bath. You want to make sure the asparagus is fully cooled down and dry before you put it through the food saver. I like to dry the asparagus between 2 towels, and I use a scale to weigh it so I can portion it into half-pound packages. I'm assuming you know how to use your vacuum sealer. Of course, you start by cutting the roll to fit the amount of asparagus you're freezing. My machine has a built-in roll cutter, but if yours doesn't, just use a pair of scissors. And then you press the seal button to seal one end. You'll know that it's done sealing when the light goes off. And then, voila, you have a bag. I try to arrange the asparagus so it's mostly in a single layer. It's like putting a jigsaw puzzle together. This way the packages freeze quicker, they stack better, and they take up less space in the freezer. If your vacuum sealer has a dry moist button, set it to moist. If you don't have this button, don't worry about it. If liquid starts to get sucked out, manually hit the seal button. I had to do this with all of these packages. And then I had to wipe the edges dry. And periodically empty the trough. When this happens, it's not a big deal. It just means that you should seal the bags twice to make sure it has a proper seal. Always label your packages with the date, and if you package in different sizes, it makes sense to also label the weight. I froze 7 half-pound packages and 1 smaller package. I'm sure we'll put up more before asparagus season ends. Thanks so much for stopping by.